conversation for you. And you guys are going to love where it lands in the end. And you don't see this coming because I'm going to break it down. And the surprise is at the end. So in the next 6 minutes, you're going to learn some things that'll change the way you look at boxing. And it's going to change your overall perception of how to actually climb levels. And I'm going to share each and every facet with you. Number one, when a person teaches you, you will never ever get the upper hand psychologically because see, they know they taught you and they know how much they taught you and they know what you don't know based on what you showed them in the ring, in the gym, and in the ring at the fight. So they can always have that measuring over you. They can measure where you have gotten to. And so therefore, people who are like Floyd took liberty to show Tank every phase of where he was. But guess what? When you fire him, you have no one to say, this is what's going to happen when you get into that Roberto Duran, Marvin Hagler fight, that Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns fight, how to overcome when you're not looking the way you look against all of these other fighters. You don't have that same confidence and cachet. See, this is where it gets funny. You get it? This is very cold because when you have a teacher, if they were to fight, what you're going to see is he's going to go in there with his energy. And the minute the teacher pops you in the face, you're going to remember he knows what to do if I counter him. If you want to think about what a fight like that would look like, you go back to Floyd Mayweather versus Zab Judah. But the difference is Floyd Mayweather, when he fought Zab Judah, this is no man that's as fast as Zab Judah, pound for pound with quickness. And Floyd dissected him. And Zab Judah was an offensive fighter. He was coming to bring the smoke. Tank is a slow starter. You think you're going to get inside of Floyd Mayweather's jab? You see, one of the things he has not lost is his quickness. He doesn't have to be fast. He hasn't lost his quickness, the reflexes, that twitch muscle. So therefore, he can react to anything you do. And I'm going to break down Gervonta Tank Davis is my top 3 fighters. I actually am my family, my bloodline. The DMV is where I am. The DMV is where I'm from. So I have a vested interest in loving that fighter. So I'm biased towards him. But what I want you guys to understand is this is education when it comes down to this sport. And when it comes down to the sport of boxing, there is nothing that I have not seen or been a part of, learned the hard way, and said that'll never happen again. Because just like one of my mentors, Coach Adams said, you might beat me once, but no one beats me twice, and no one has ever. And so that's the militant downline I'm from. You're talking over 300 titles directly in front of over 20 plus world champions. That's not something many people will ever be able to say, let alone have said. And so when you're a part of that entrenched downline, that's your upline. That's where you learn from. That's my ABCs of boxing, 5 generations. And so when you see your teacher pop you in the face with the long jab and can react to your counter and understands how to deal with a southpaw, see, that's the funny thing about boxing. See, you become a victim of the moment and you start to underestimate the abilities of the other guy. And that's what happened just a couple of weeks ago with Jared Anderson. Underestimated the value of the other guy in the ring because the guy didn't have a bigger name. But names don't fight for you in boxing. You have to learn that the boxing forum is all about Get people in your corner that got generational health or wealth or awareness. And that's one of the key things. You must be in an upline of professors. Like De La Hoya just said here.
I'm good friends with his father, the best trainer I've ever had.
Wow.
By far. He's a teacher. And that's what Floyd Jr. grew up with. He grew up with a teacher who disciplined him to be the very, very best. And I love his patience. I love the fact that he's a hard hitter and he has a chin. See, people discredit him for not having a chin. He has a chin and he has a big heart. So I think that what makes him unique is obviously his boxing ability, but his ring generalship is what does it for me.
See, there are plenty of trainers and very good trainers who can work the pads, who can tell you what to do, who are instructional. But that's the funny thing about boxing, see. See, without experience, you don't know when you get on the highway that day that you're going to hit a ice patch and your car is going to go out of control because you didn't pay attention to the newscast that said don't go out because it's going to be black ice. And so lo and behold, you with your confidence and your nice Bentley, you get on the road and you decide to drive, and you don't pay attention to what they forecasted. People have been in that position to tell you it's not a good idea to go out when the black ice has landed overnight and it's the first thing in the morning. All right. So that's another thing. When you get popped in the face by your teacher, it's going to play in your mind. That's going to happen. Doesn't matter the age. This wasn't the Ali Archie Moore story where Archie Moore was a fighter. He was coming to beat up the student. He was in there against a guy who was defensively minded first too, and that just didn't work out. This isn't that. This guy still has those reflexes, and lo and behold, he has the stature, the size, and Floyd's not going to allow a guy to control him when he has the size over him, period, point blank. He understands how to make it. The next thing you need to learn is that there's not going to be the kind of fight that you want to fight. You have to learn when you're going up in levels that a person will make you fight in a particular kind of way that you never saw coming and that you don't understand. You have to have been in the fight like Mayweather when he fought Cotto. That was a grueling fight. You had to make a decision. You have to make the hard choice. Can I go to sleep with this loss? Because I feel like I'm about to lose my breath forever, giving up this ring, surrendering that pace, knowing that this is the toughest thing I've ever had to do. I got to pull something from somewhere that I don't know if it exists yet. See, levels is when you fighting in a different kind of fight. You don't get those as you're coming up quite often. And that guy who you are going up against that could give you that doesn't have the experiences under his belt to make it a difficult fight for you. There is no way on the planet Earth that someone like Floyd Mayweather would allow Tank to fight the kind of fight he wants to. See, that's what you learn at the highest levels of boxing, is that you can control the narrative because you can make things happen in that fight that they did not plan to happen. And that's what you call cagey. You take away what they want to do and make them beat you with what's left. And what's left is what I taught you. And that's the funny thing about boxing. See, your hands can't hit what your eyes can't see. Now, once you get to that place where you're in unfamiliar territory, now it's round one. And that's where we say you going up in levels. Like I said, it's 4 stages to boxing. Phase 1 is the basics. Is what you have to know in order to technically become a boxer. The way you hold your hands, the way you move your head, the way you posture your feet. Stage two is adding on to that, which is the advanced levels. You'll see that in the upper echelon of tournaments in boxing as you're coming up the ladder. So you learn advanced boxing, pivoting, multi complex movements. This helps you in situations in boxing that will surrender the ring or position you where you need to be and set more traps in boxing. Now, number three, level three, is when you're in phase three. This is where you start implementing and learning the styles of boxing. It becomes your craft, the peekaboo. It's unconventional. It's going against the rules in which you learn from the first two layers. Peekaboo, your feet are squared up. In the Philly shell, you got one hand down. In the cutie style, you stick your chin out and hands low. But this is where you learn your craft in boxing. In stage four, you make it your own. And this is where you become a fighter, a prize fighter. And that's the difference in this thing. And until you've seen it all, you can't say what you can do at that level. There are plenty of people who thought that they were there, and lo and behold, they find out. If you go back to the Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney versus Prograis, everybody thinks they're there until they're not. Charlos, Canelo, they think they're there until they're not. And then you see this is what you were lacking. You think they have these unique things, but what they had is just the advantage over another guy. But when you put them in there equal, what happens is they find out who you truly are. And that's where you'll find out if they have the true algorithm of a fighter. That means they can bite down on their mouthpiece and go mano y mano. Do you have that? Are you teaching that? Are you taking them through the psychological training as well as the skills and sets training? Do you understand the pillars, that there are 12 of them in boxing? Are you taking them through all of them if you do know about them? Or is your system a little bit out of whack? Are the coaches at times in an ego fest? Are they interacting with each other like a systematic posse? Does everyone understand their role when it comes down to speaking to the fighter in the corner? See, these are the things that you must be prepared for, because there's levels, and there are people who've been out here, very few that have been out here in 5 generations of the game deep. And one thing that's going to be for sure, we're going to see what you do. That's why I have what we call the 12-second film study, because all I need to do is to see you move in the ring for 12 seconds. I can call any fight. I can expose any one of your holes. And I'm noted for that. This isn't something that I just said, I'm going to come up with something cool. I've been just saying that. So, all of you who know me, you know this is true. I can look at you just goofing off, and I can tell the type fighter that will beat you. I can implement the kind of techniques that can take you down, because what fighters lack in this era are teachers, not trainers, says Oscar De La Hoya. Everybody knows it's great training everywhere. Hell, you can use the internet to train, but the teachers create systems for you, overarching vocal tones going into your brain, giving you the right mindset, the mentality, the understanding, and the know. You have to go against your ego. You have to go against the hypotheticals. You have to create the scenarios, not allow them to happen to you. So, when I talk about the toughest fight for a Javante Tank Davis is a Floyd Mayweather. But lo and behold, when you have a mind as great as someone like Floyd, who got to see the game from the back seat because the other generations that came laid down the blueprint, he can foresee your downfall. He can implement things into this thing to take you off course. So what happens is Tank gets rid of him. Now, here's the kicker. Floyd wants to make it clear to him. Here, young man. So you think that there's an actual such thing as a fighter that can't be replaced. Let me show you that you're a commodity. Here, no matter how great your career is going, boxing is undefeated. And so is Father Time. When you come and you're up against someone, he has the mastery to go out and find another person that is going to be the physical specimen that he will sick on that guy. And he's going to give him what he needs. And when a young kid doesn't have an ego that will intrude on that, see, that's the third reason why a fighter loses fight. EQ, his lack there of emotional intelligence. When you have the lack of emotional intelligence, that means you'll make a decisions on impulse. Once you get into an area in a fight that you have never been before, and when your teacher knows you, he knows an area of your fight or of the fight that you've never been before.
Learn to stay relaxed. This happens when you know how to cover your checkpoints and have 100% confidence that your blind spots are covered or out of range. Want to know when to create angles and master defending your blind spots? To become a hybrid version of yourself. Remember, a hybrid's not the perfect fighter, they're the perfect weapon. Ready to become unstoppable? Let's make it happen.
And so he's going to put the person and sick them on you in a way that that person's going to get that understanding. They're going to grow and they're going to move through the rankings much faster than even you. And that's the person that he's going to implement what the kid needs to beat you. That's the mastery. Knowing levels of boxing, the mastery of understanding this fight game. Only fighters think it's them against the other guy. But the people who are in the upper echelons, the teachers and the professors, see, I've written 30 books on boxing, guiding people, the operational manner in which you have to do this. So I'm a professor because I was raised by professors and I was 3 generations in. Now it's generation 5. And my tree consists of people like Archie Moore, George Benton, Kenny Adams, Emmanuel Stewart, and 4 of the 5 are on Mount Olympus. I have no qualms about my experience and knowledge and what I was passed down because I'm going to tell you the truth. It wasn't easy at all. It was the hardest thing in the world. But I understood what I was going to be able to do is give you education on this sport. So I'm not here to debate. Take the information if you may. I just know it's 5 generations just under my belt alone. And if you understand boxing, the business and the politics of boxing, you understand what's playing out. And what's playing out is the most dangerous fight for Gervonta Tank Davis is the protege of Floyd Mayweather, who will have the entire playbook if they face off in the ring. And if Gervonta stays on the track that he's on, that will happen. He will be facing a version of Floyd Mayweather. And let me tell you guys, these people who have co-signed on this fight, meaning the people who know what they were watching over the weekend, when a person has those twitches at that age and have the defensive prowess and understand how to set traps and understand how to make you take naps, meaning put you to sleep in the ring while they beat you up. That's a master. And Bernard Hopkins had that. Sugar Ray Leonard was an offensive juggernaut. So he couldn't carry that late into a career because you got guys that's faster than you. But when you're a defensive master, you beat the Zab Judas, you beat the Pacquiaos, you beat the De La Hoyas, you beat the Canelos because it's a master that you're facing. And so you have to be clear when you're going out here and understanding how many teachers are tied to you. I'll tell you straight to the straight with no chaser. If I didn't have teachers, no way would I've taken what I've done and written what I've written and created what I've created for the up and coming trainers and fighters in the game today. There is no way I would have. So hopefully you guys receive this and utilize the understanding of what other people know, because a wise man learns from other people's mistakes and a fool learns from and creates his own and will continue to go through that cycle over and over. So if you've been losing or if you didn't build the team in the right way, look at what you've done. Have you replayed history over and over again? Or did you level the thing up? That's what you got to look at. So thanks again. Hopefully you got something away from this and you understand that it's more to boxing than just skills training. And if you don't have skills training, you got to get the understanding of teachers, professors, upline, and what you're going to pass down the line. So make sure that it's the right thing. And if you want to become a member right here, just subscribe. Special shouts out to all of my brothers in the School of Boxing, Top Trainer University. We try to keep it popping. We got special things coming this week, so keep it locked. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Make sure you go check out our stories. We try to keep you guys informed in our stories over on Instagram. And check out the YouTube channel if you like to get those skill drills. But for right now, continue to follow for more and type smoke.
I'm sure you've heard the news. There's a way to become unbeatable in the ring. Ready to find out how? If you're tired of getting hit and struggling to control your rage, it's time to level up. Master these two key aspects of the sweet science, and you'll become what we call a hybrid fighter. How do you master this? I'm going to give you something to do every day the exact same way. First, learn to protect yourself at all times. Cover your blind spots. Master when to use angles. Right now you're using them at the wrong times. You must do it when they don't know it's coming. Think Vasily Lomachenko. He's a hybrid. Next, learn to stay relaxed. This happens when you know how to cover your checkpoints and have 100% confidence that your blind spots are covered or out of range. Want to know when to create angles and master defending your blind spots? To become a hybrid version of yourself. Remember, a hybrid's not the perfect fighter, they're the perfect weapon. Ready to become unstoppable? Let's make it happen.